Welcome everybody to Morel's Man Cave where we keep the party going. Today's subject is at 60 years old, do you have enough finances to survive? This is a very touchy topic for a lot of people because everybody's thinking, oh my God, when I become 60 years old, I'm going to retire from my job, assuming they have a 401k, assuming they have a retirement plan, and most importantly, a survival plan to maximize your finances. Social Security, I'm 48 years old, might run out by the time I get to be 60 something years old and I'm actually eligible for Social Security. The chances of me living off of Social Security and Social Security only is going to be a zero chance. And I don't think most people right now are thinking about life at 60 years old. They're in the now. They're on the phone. They're on Instagram. They're going to Jamaica. They're going to Bali. They're going to Vegas. They're doing all of these trips and spending all of this money, not thinking about the long-term play. There's a lot of parents right now, they're living with their kids. You guys are really observing what's going on in the real world. Why is Rebecca, Janet, Susan, Maria's mom living with her? Because of due to whatever circumstance, she don't have enough money to live on her own. It's not because of bad health. That's a whole different conversation. I'm talking about strictly financial. Her mom does not make enough money to provide for herself. That's a huge problem. The point of this video is to show you guys what is going on right now. And most importantly, are you prepared or thinking about getting prepared to be 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old? Because right now, Social Security is not going to be your falling grace. Oh, I can't wait to get Social Security. When I get Social Security at 60 years old, I'm gonna make $2,000, whatever Social Security may have been, and that's gonna take me to be successful. Not. Think about it right now. It's 2026 as I make this video. What is the average rent in America? I'm gonna go on the low end, probably about $1,000 a month. On the low end, on average. I'm saying on average. Now you spend $1,000 for your housing. Imagine this in, let's say, 20 years if you're 40 years old. Imagine 40 years from now if you're 20 years old. It's not going to be $1,000. Inflation happens every year. With that being said, do you plan on being a burden? In my opinion, it's a burden to your kids for your kids to be raising you as a parent. Do your job. I know you sacrifice for your kid, and we all appreciate it as kids, but wow, mom, dad, whoever the person may have been, what was the plan? Was the plan to work until you die? Which is cool, but that's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to provide for your kids as best as possible, but make sure you can maintain your lifestyle, because what you're going to do by being in the house with your kids as a mom or as a dad, it's more moms than dad, make this real clear, is you're preventing your daughter, in most cases, from her dating life. As a man, I'm not single, but if I was single and I met Rebecca, Janet, Maria, whatever her name may have been, and we're going on dates, we're talking on the phone, so forth, so on, and at some point she says, "Oh, I live with my mom. Mom, it's not my mom's house, it's my house, but I live with my mom." The man in his head is thinking to himself, okay, I met this woman, she's attractive, she's feminine, whatever the word is looking for, she's exactly that. But if we were to ever get married, I'm gonna have to either move in with her or she's gonna move in with me. And guess what she has? She has a whole mom. There's one thing to have a kid as a woman. That's one thing. A kid at 18, 19, 20 years old, that kid's out the door living their own life. But when you're living with your mom, or you're living in your mom's house, either or, sheesh, that's messing with your dating life. Ladies, gentlemen, let's get our stuff together for the future. Not today, but for the future. My recommendation, see, here's the thing. I know what the problem is. The problem is we're living for today. Cool. Here's a solution to get to that point when you're 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old, you can sustain what you got going on. You need to have a minimum mindset. You need to have a minimum lifestyle. Stop going out to eat 3, 4 times a day. Drop them Uber Eats. Forget about going to Ubers, going to different places and so forth. So on. Live a minimum lifestyle. That's going to give you the best position to save money right now. So in the future, when the money does go short, you're going to be all right. Look at it like this. Let's say you work for a company for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. There's an expiration date on that company. You can't work at that company forever. Now, either that company's going to fire you due to AI, due to a person being younger and more experienced than you, maybe trying to cut costs on a salary, and you no longer work for that company anymore. Do you have enough money in your 60s and 70s to survive? A lot of people don't, which is fine. That's the purpose of this video, is to show you guys what you're doing right now in your 20s, 30s, 40s. You better start turning it into overdrive to prepare for your 60s and 70s. Because in your 60s and 70s, you're not going to be as marketable from a job point of view. Imagine being, which is happening right now in 2026 due to the AI firing. A lot of people got fired over in 2025 because of AI took over their job. Their job is more computer based. Their job is more something like been taken over by AI, and they lost their jobs. Let's say this person making between 50 and 90,000 K a year. It's all gone now. The chance of getting that exact same job back for the exact same pay at a different company is slim to none. Right now, from what I'm hearing, is it's probably like 200 candidates for one job. So are you the best of the best out of those 200 candidates? Probably not. And of those 200 candidates, the job's already probably taken, but just due to the rules of the government, they gotta post the job to at least announce it, but they already know what they're gonna hire anyways. So now you're in a scenario where you're in your 40s, 50s, 30s, whatever the age may be, and like, damn, I never thought about my future in the 60s because no one's thinking about it. This phone right now is telling you that going forward, there's a lot of things you need to watch out for. Let me explain to you right fast. I got this great invention, Google. I love using it with a passion because it tells me answers in real time. Let's go in real time. I want to read a couple things up to you guys. I put in a circle, not special, a what's the word I'm looking for? A realistic, simple. There you go, simple. A simple Google search. How much money does Social Security pay? According to Google, in 2026, Social Security payments vary widely around average around 2,000 to 2,100 a month for retirees. Through amounts depend on your earnings history, age of retirement, and type of benefits, retirement, disability, or survivor for 2026. So if today you're 60 years old and Social Security is still around, you're gonna make between $2,000 and $2,100 a month. That's it. Is that enough to make you survive? Question you got to ask yourself. I put another Google search. How will how long will Social Security be no more? Social Security isn't disappearing, but facts funding shortfalls with trust funds projected over the cover about 70-80% of promised benefits after depletion around 2023 to 2027, 2037. What does that mean to you guys? At some point, Social Security is going to have so many people on it, but not enough people putting it into it. It's going to end. Or they're going to raise the age limit, whatever it may have been. Last but not least, was the average life expectancy in the U.S. in 2023? The average life expectancy in the U.S. was around 78.4 years old. Now, best case scenario, you got to be 78 years old. Congratulations. Do you have enough monthly income flowing in to survive from 60 years old to 78 years old? And for most cases, the answer is no. And now you're going to find yourself either being in a homeless shelter. I don't think, matter of fact, that's actually a good question to look at in real time. Let's do that. But I love you guys. We can talk about any and everything online. Let's do this a live search because we need this real time. I want to look at, make sure I got this right. I want to look at what's the cost of a home, I mean of a older people home. Center. There we go, center. Something like that. Boom, boom, boom. So it's saying here the cost of an older adult center varies. Local communities offer being free or very low cost, funded by the taxpayers for activities, meals, and social events. While adult day healthcare center provides more intense medical or personal care, averaging around 95 to 100 bucks a day, or around 2,000 to 2,200 bucks a month. What's that telling you guys? Social Security ain't gonna be enough for you guys to survive, because throughout the years, depending on what age you are right now I'm 48 years old. At the earliest I could take out Social Security would be 62 years old. That's another so many years between inflation, Social Security, not having enough people putting money into it. It's not gonna be enough money. So if I don't pay attention, which I already have, I'm retired military. This is not about me. This is about you guys thinking about the future. Let's just say hypothetically, you work with your hands, and God forbid you can't work with your hands anymore. Do you have enough money in a 401k? Do you have enough money saved up to provide you income in your 60s, 70s, and if you're lucky enough, your 80s? That's my point of this video, is to prepare you guys for the 60s, because what I don't want you guys to do is to be a burden on your kids. I call them either son husbands or daughter wives, because you're catering to your mom or your dad because they didn't have the financial means to provide for themselves in the 60s and 70s, and they're hurting you in your dating life. Imagine if you was a man or a woman and your mom is living with you guys. That's not a good look for the other person, because they want to be connected to their spouse, man or woman, not to the mom and the spouse. It's not fair. We all know life ain't fair, and we're good with that. But what we're not good is people not preparing for the future. My point of this video is to show you guys there's life after 60 years old. And the most important thing is, for most companies, you're not hireable anymore. They're not going to pay you top dollar depending on where you work at. So if you're used to making 70, 80, 90,000 a year, those days in your 60s are over with. Now you're down to a reduced income. If Social Security lasts at all, between 2,000 to 2,100 bucks a year. My fault, let me rephrase. 2,000 to 2,100 bucks a month. Is that going to be enough money to make you guys survive? If the answer is yes, then keep on doing what you're doing. If the answer is no, do you really want to be a burden to your son or to your daughter? That's what's going to happen. You're going to be an extreme burden to your son or to your daughter. I just showed in a previous slide about how much it's going to cost to get into an older folks home, between 2,000 to 2,200 bucks a month. Am I connecting the dots right here? The whole point of this platform, Morel's Man Cave, is to give you guys conversations about things you never even thought about before. It is not to bash women. It's not to bash men. What this is to give awareness of what's actually going on right now, and start using your cell phones to your full advantage. And your full advantage is, I need to do what I need to do to make sure I'm not a burden on my kids. Can I survive on my own? Let's say a person doesn't have any kids at all. At some point, you're going to need to provide for yourself outside of your job. Do you have the 401k? Do you have stocks and bonds? Do you have crypto? Do you have something outside of Social Security to provide you enough money to survive? Look at it like this. Today, tomorrow, whenever it may be, go to your local Walmart, go to your local Target. There's a bunch of older people working there. If you're younger, in your 40s and your 30s, ask yourself a question. Do I want to be just like them, working in my 60s and 70s? Or do I want to be relaxed, sitting on the front porch in a rocking chair, letting life go by? You have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about choice. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe to the video. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I hitting the hammer on the nail, or I'm just yapping? Either way, this podcast is for a conversation. With that being said, keep the party going.